personal Facebook page, but you've got an ad to your business. Is that
Yeah, you take the key success for any advertising is to get them off wherever they are and onto your website.
okay? But
So get them off Facebook.
You're logged into your personal Facebook page. People are on your, and then they see an ad and they can click into
your website.
to a landing page of the website.
Yeah, landing page. Yeah.
A landing page.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to just fly through this one very quickly
Yeah.
because I think we need to finish up. So ad extensions is another thing on Google that you need to look at. So if you're running AdWords, you need to look at ad extensions. You need to run as many of those as you can because Google will give you a higher score for the more ad extensions you run. And the higher your score, the lower your cost per click, etc., the better your cost per inquiry. They make your ad bigger. So if you utilise every ad extension, that's what I'm talking about, where you can take up 80% of a mobile screen. If you're using every ad extension and it's all displaying, you can really, really maximise your visibility, and it makes a big, big difference.
This is with Google AdWords.
Yeah.
I understand that. What are ad extensions?
So it's, for example, an ad extension is a call extension. So what that is, you just put your phone number in it. So Google knows that your phone number's there. So when people search for you, they get a button that says call now, and they can click to call it. And that is then tracked, so it knows which keyword generated a phone call in the same way it knows which keyword would generate an inquiry. So I'm going to just fly through this because we've talked about this really. So you make sure you review your ads, review your keywords, conversions and your landing pages. This is possibly, there we go. This is the most important bit of AdWords. If you don't do anything else, do this. You can forget 90% of everything I talked about if you just do this. So conversion tracking, so again, like I said, it's this piece of code, it gives you the code and it just says paste this into your website. You have to excuse me, paste it on your thank you page. So once someone's inquired, they go to a page that says thanks very much, your guide's on its way, or thanks for your inquiry, we'll get back to you. You put that bit of code on that page, and then Google will know which keyword led to that person inquiring, and that's when you can look at some keywords over time and you stop the advertising on the expensive ones that don't convert. So we were running a campaign for someone, their budget was quite high, they were paying $6,500 a month on AdWords. And we were doing some reviews on keywords over a 3-month period, and we saw that we'd spent £800 on one keyword which had never converted. So you just pause it. Suddenly you save another £800 every quarter to spend on the keywords that are converting. So it's really fundamentally important. It's the most important thing you must do with AdWords. If you don't do that, don't do AdWords, because you'll just throw your money away. I think we're there. So I will return you over to Dev.
Thank you, Ben. That was a whistle-stop tour of AdWords. AdWords is quite complex,
I mean,
quite detailed.
I would normally do that over 2 days, just AdWords. So
There is a lot going on in AdWords. The key thing is the big picture stuff, yeah? And that is, first of all, what's your return on investment, yeah? If I give you £10 and you give me even £11 back, I'm going to go remortgage my house and give you the lot, yeah? Because I know I'm getting more back than I'm giving you. And that's what all your strategies, all your paid strategies, even time, so give it 2 seconds, that's what all your strategies should revolve around, yeah? How much do you have to put in and how much are you getting back out? And as long as you're getting more back out, you're on a winner.
I know.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to say something. The next thing is you can end up with loads and loads of ads. And again, this is a big, big topic, so I don't want to go too much into it because it'll just blow your minds, and you don't need to know that. But you can end up with loads and loads of little adverts with Google that are generating patients. So one advert for one keyword. Yeah. So you could, people are searching for ACL reconstruction, for example. It's a well-known thing, so people are searching. So you've got that in there, and that's generating patients for you. And you might be spending £100 on ads, and it's generating hundreds or thousands of pounds of profit for you. So you end up with loads of little machines almost sat there in the background generating money, generating patients like clockwork, just going on. But you have to keep track of these things. So here's my little horror story for you. I was approached by a big orthopaedic practice, many surgeons asking me to help them with grow their practice bigger. And they had been doing AdWords and were getting some, they thought were reasonable results. That was great, and they said, well, what can you do to help us, Dad? So I did a bit of sniffing around and looked into things. I didn't have their passwords to get in, but I did a bit of looking around, and I picked up on a few problems. So I said, you need to do this. This is my prescription to grow your practice. Yeah, do these things. But before you do that, you might want to look at your AdWords campaign. And basically what they'd done is they had been running it for just over 14 months. Well, no, they'd been running it for quite a long time. But it had been just over 14 months since they'd looked at it. And you can go on Google and find where the ads are and so on. And I clicked on a lot of them, and they were all going to 404 pages, which means the pages were dead, the links were broken, the pages didn't exist. Or they were going to home pages or odd, weird and wonderful places on their website which you should never go wander off to. And basically there was no way that anyone who clicked on a whole series of ads could possibly have turned into a patient. And they had blown nearly £15,000, got absolutely nothing out of it. So they spent £15,000 on clicks which could not possibly have turned into patients. So it was all just pissed in the wind. So that's an extreme example, because Google, you're asking Google you're saying, I'll give you money if people click on this ad. And they'll do that. You give them whatever budget, £10,000, £1 million, as long as enough people are clicking, they'll spend all that money. If only 2 or 3 people are searching, then it's possible that they won't spend your money because there's not enough people to click. But for the most part, there are far more people searching than your budget could possibly tolerate to deal with. So they'll spend all your money, but it's up to you to make sure that things are connected and working, keeping an eye on it. And their web guys had screwed up their pages. The pay-per-click person who was actually one of the consultants who was doing it, had screwed up. So I said, here's a video about what's happening. I'll just send that to you so you can have a little look at it. So I don't want to drop you in it with your colleagues, and then you can decide what you want to do, if you want me to help you or this, that and the other, and what you're going to do to fix it. So, it was a slightly tricky situation, but he made a mess of it because he hadn't kept an eye on it.
Do you know what you mentioned yesterday, Paul, about the consultant, if you put your name in, it was going to somebody else's, is that what?
Yep, and this is another practice, eye surgical practice, somebody very, very famous who asked me to help him out, and he said, what do you think I should do, blah, 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 and I had a little poke around online, and I found out that several of his competitors had used his name as a keyword for their ads to come up. Yeah.
When you mean keyword, you mean adword?
Yeah, so a keyword is simply a search term. So it might be hip replacement, it might be cataract, it might be something a lot more involved, redo
So
cataract surgery or something.
So your competitor, Mr. Smith, has basically set up an AdWord that whenever called Pavlov.
Someone types in Pavlov in Google and knee, his advert, he pays for his advert to pop up on.
So he's set your name up with me as an AdWord.
As a keyword.
As a keyword.
So you're an ENT surgeon, yeah? You want people would say the keyword is tonsil.
Yeah.
All right. But some people might search your name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'd be quite pleased about that because it means your website will appear.
Yeah.
But I'm an ENT surgeon in Leicester as well, and I'm jealous of you, or I want to go my private practice and so on. So
Right.
I'll put keywords for tonsils, but I'll also put the keyword of your name.
Just the name on its own.
Your name
Okay.
is linked to my advert, and so now when somebody puts in your name, my advert comes up on the top of the page above your website.
So if you've got, say, 5 consultants, and I'm doing that, and I'm using A, B, C, and B is using, how does that then work?
Well, then now it's not a simple bidding war, but basically Google is deciding which of those.
Everybody's at it, and everybody's doing it. I mean,
But if you're not all
Yeah,
at
but
it,
it's
then
the
you'll
sa-
be...
if you're not all at it, you win.
Go on,
But
Dave.
as
Google
time,
decide.
But it's the same way as say. So here we are in Cork.
yeah,
There's 5 orthopaedic surgeons here.
yeah,
You're all trying to get knee replacements. Yeah. You're all bidding on the term knee replacement.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah,
it's a
so-
very simple example. Yeah. It's the same problem.
So how does that work then? How do
The
you-
Google's nobody knows Google's formula. It's a bit like
Ah.
Colonel Sanders'
Ah.
recipe. Yeah.
Okay.
We think it's of the order of 46 different variables. We think at last guess.
Oh, right, okay.
There's some complicated formula, and we've got ideas about which variables are more important, are weighted more heavily than others, and so on, such as having a mobile responsive web page. That's in there. There's lots of things, and Google weighs up the page you're sending traffic to. It assesses that. It looks at your advert. It looks at how many people are clicking. It relates all sorts of different things together, and then it comes up with a number, basically. And it will say, you know, this advert is the best, this campaign is the best. So now if somebody searches for hip replacement, out of all the 5 of us here in Cork, his advert comes up first. And it's not a simple bidding war.
Yeah.
The amount you bid for a keyword
Mm.
matters, but not as much as any of the other stuff.
And all this is done in America, is it?
It's all done on server farms across the globe. It's done on computers, yeah.
I mean, all this is worked out in the States, is it?
Well, the computers that run this are globally located, but that's irrelevant. The company is an American company, yes.
Or it's not people doing all this, it's
No.
automation.
Yes, it's all automated.
And it changes daily. It changes daily.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
constantly
every
updated
time, every time you run a search term,
Yeah.
Google runs the same algorithm across every single
It's constantly
website.
changing.
So every time, so it's done every single time you search on AdWords, it works out every time which one it's going to place. And it can be as simple as, you know, your ads are absolutely identical in every way, but this one's using 2 of the call extensions, 2 of the ad extensions, so it's using call extensions and maybe a location extension, which means it's showing your phone number and where you are.
Right.
And so subsequently it will say that one, that's using a bit more, we'll put them higher, and that's all it is.
And nobody's privy to that information, obviously.
Nobody's.
Who's privy to that?
No, it's a secret.
There's- I mean,
because if you
there's-
knew exactly how it was
Yeah.
calculated, you'd game the system.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what
46
SEO attempts to do. It attempts to game
Ah,
the
I
system.
see.
And that's one of the many reasons you shouldn't do it.
Okay.
So we've got a pretty good idea,
Yeah.
we as in people,
Yeah.
the specialists in this field, would have a pretty good idea of what matters,
Okay.
but nobody has the inside track apart from
Is Google worldwide then? Russia, China, everywhere?
Yeah, well, there's Google IE, Google everywhere, yeah.
Like,
Different suffixes. Right, I think it's time for a very quick change of pace. If you'd like to talk about some more stuff. Has that been helpful, by the way? First
Yeah,
of all?
yeah,
Has that been helpful, yeah?
It's amazing.
Maybe do
What, what little
Pardon?
line.
Maybe do 2 minute break.
Yeah, does anyone want a wee break or something? Quick stretch and wind break or something?
30 seconds.
Okay.
What program have you used to put these mind mapping things together?
This is Simple Mind. You can get it. This is Simple Mind Pro, but it's Simple Mind. You can get it on your phone as well. It's really good to sketch out stuff, and you can get it to link to your phone, so these maps will appear on your phone and things. I thought it'd be a bit more interesting. I mean, it's loads of PowerPoint slides and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and it's like lots of thoughts together that you can use to sort of put your knowledge and ideas and stuff you've picked up on as well. Did you find it useful using this? Is this better than death by PowerPoint? I thought.
It's all there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The most expensive clicks.
And all these mind maps link together, but to actually do that would just make it horrendous and confusing.
PowerPoint where it just goes from one to another.
Okay.
That's what we were just doing here. Yeah.
No, there's another version like PowerPoint. It'd be interesting to see what proportion of your boxes of the content you thought you were going to cover, you've actually covered with the program.
There's loads of stuff I haven't told you about. And as I say, as you know, said right at the beginning, it all seems like a chaotic mess because everything links together. But hopefully today we'll pull it all together a bit, and you're starting to see how it does come together, and you can create, you know, the blueprint I promised you, your tailor-made blueprint for yourselves. Like this is what I need to do, and we'll pull in a bit of this and so on.
It's easy to get quite blown away by it all, isn't it?
Well, this is the problem, yeah. It's like
You know,
you
that's
seeing a
the reason you
patient,
get blown
your
away
level of
from
knowledge,
Yeah.
and you have to try and bring it right down to what the patient needs.
So basically, Dad, what you're saying is, the bottom line is the old days are gone, when patients went to the GP and said, I've got a problem, I've got private insurance, who do you recommend? Nowadays, people will go on the internet. What percent, roughly, do you think people will do that, and what percent will people say, fuck the GP, go on the internet, decide and go to someone without referral letter of their saying, what do you reckon?
I can't give you figures. I can give you
Guesstimates.
impressions.
Yeah.
I think vast numbers of people are doing. The vast majority of people.
What, 50-50?
No, I think many more people. I think the vast majority of people who have ended up either to see one of you guys or see a GP have already Googled their symptoms.
I
They've
think
already
it's a
got.
generational thing though as well.
Yeah.
So
As a
it will be
I'm
the
sure the
younger
older
thing.
generation still prefer to go to
Agreed.
the GP and they trust the judgment of the GP. The younger generation probably just isn't it?
I don't know. I think a lot of people in the old days, a lot of people respected the GPs because they saw the same person.
Yeah.
Nowadays, patients come to me. I say, "Who's your GP?" I don't know, doc. I've never seen the same person twice.
GP often asks them.
People respect the GP a lot less now than they did because they don't see them, and it's
Well,
difficult to get an appointment. You know, they'll wait 3 weeks to see a bloody GP. They'd rather go online and book an appointment with you straight away.
Well, the world has changed. Information is now so much more accessible, you know, and it's not a matter of.
You'll see an FY2. You won't see a GP.
The GPs will ask them if a lot of the young people at my age will say, "Do you have any idea who you want to see?" If they think
Yes.
they'll go private, and they'll say, "Yes, I want. Can I see this guy? What do you think?" Or "Can you recommend someone?" Or whatever. But I mean, I had a lady in the clinic the other day and said, "I researched you, and you know, I've got very specific needs, and you on your website you say you tailor-make management plans or something." I mean, it's only one person who's ever physically put it in that way, but she clearly looked at all of our profiles and decided to come to me on that occasion, probably because what she saw on something struck a
I
chord.
don't have hard data, but I can say that in my experience, you know, the vast majority of people are going to Uncle Google, Dr. Google, before their patients, before seeing their GPs or any other clinician. And yes, it is a generational thing, but if you think about it, you know, internet, Google, search engines, they've been out now for what, 15 years, whatever. So the new younger people, 20-year-olds, whatever, they've been breathing with it, you know. 40, 50-year-olds are using it. Well, in a couple of years, it'll be 70-year-old. You know, in a few years, it'll be 70 years old. So it's crashing through the generations.
What do you think about these places, like these websites like Private Healthcare UK, which
Yep.
have got consultant profiles on, and they ask you, well, I mean, this woman handing you wants £1,000 to make me a platinum member, you know, for the year, and when they had lots of traffic to their website, and then you know, if you're a platinum member, you would be the usual thing. Are those things useful?
Well, the answer is, you know, it's the stock answer, and it's not necessarily very satisfactory. It's like, what does it work?
Yeah. Okay.
And the trouble is tracking it. How do you track
How do
it?
you track it? Yeah.
You
I
can't
mean, the only
really.
thing she could say is, well, none of my consultants ever stop doing it. They're satisfied that it brings them patients. They only have to bring you one patient for it to
Well,
be worthwhile.
yeah, but how many of those only needs to bring you just one? You know, do you need? Well, you do a lot of these things, and you might get one out of all of
Give
them.
them
And
trackable email and phone numbers.
yeah, there are things you can do, but my view, but there are loads of online directories for doctors and services, and they're all doing it, and they're charging you
They're all doing
to be on there, you know. And do they work? Well, maybe. I don't have the inside scoop. They're not going to give you. They're not going to tell me. They're not going to tell you. That's not their business model. The business model is simply to get you on there, like the Yellow Pages, and that's it. My take on the matter is there's so many things you could do to grow your private practice which you know will work if you do it properly. Do something proven. And once you've done all the proven things, if you want to throw some money at something else, then do it. But even that doesn't make sense, because as we've just tried to be showing you, again, just with the website thing, or with AdWords, it's true as well. You know, once you've made it work, there are things you can do to make it work even better. With a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a tiny bit of money, all free, and a bit of application. So do that instead. So yeah, I'm not saying they don't work. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm saying spend your time on something that you know works. It's a no-brainer for me.
I think the important, what you said, that putting that thing in bold capitals, you do not need a GP referral. I think that's fantastic to put that on your website. You have to do that. Because a lot of patients are in the mindset that you do still need that.
But here's the thing. It comes back again to what I said about answering the patient's questions. You know what patients say to you every time you see them in the clinic. They ask the same old things. Will it hurt? Will I be asleep for my operation? Will I this, that and the other, blah, blah, blah. I said answer those questions in your content before you're asked. Don't put it as an FAQ because they've got to look it out. So when you're talking about, well, how do I come and see you, doctor? Well, all you need to do is you pick up the phone or you drop me an email. You do not need to see your GP first. You don't need a GP letter. If you've got insurance, then I'd have a word in and get a referral number or whatever it is. Just make it easy. Make it as easy as possible, because every tiny little hurdle you put in there will measurably reduce the response you get. Make it as easy, as smooth as possible.
Can I ask, in terms of if you work in multiple locations, should that, is there anything you should put on your website about different places, or again, is that basically irrelevant? You just
Well, you can, because I would again keep it really simple, saying like call. I work in Spire, Reading, and this and that. I work at these various hospitals. Yeah, I can be very flexible about where I see you. Call this number. All you want them to do is to call the number to book the
and
appointment.
then it's up to you.
And then your secretary can say, well, where would you like to see him? Oh, well, yeah, but it might not be convenient. On the phone now,
Yeah.
and say, well, it doesn't matter, it's only a couple of extra miles. I'll go to Reading anyway, or something. But if it's there in advance, it's just Reading, it's this, it's that, it's the other. Somebody might be put off and say, well, I don't really want to go to Reading.
Yeah.
But they've actually picked up the phone now, and it's like, that's okay. So it's get rid of those little hurdles.
So I used to put on my thing where, on my profiles, my appointments, slots and things, but I don't do it anymore. Because the NHS hospital looks at all your private profiles to see what time you're doing your clinics and what, and whether you should be doing them at that time. So the NHS are very clever. And you have to be very careful. They will be checking your private profiles and stuff. And they ring our hospitals, they ring our private hospitals to find out when we're doing clinics, when we're operating, and are those during our SPA sessions, are they during our admin sessions? I mean, we're very bitchy, and they look at all these things.
But the private hospitals will publish your clinic times.
I always do what we ask them to do. So you control, on my Spire profile, I used to have it, I removed it. It's up to you what's on it.
So just to go back on the point with Chris, are you saying on the website you should not have your practice locations? Is that what you said?
No, there's no right or wrong. My take on it is just to make it as easy as possible for somebody to see you. And if you want to put, I see patients at the BMI here, at the Spire here, and there are these 5 locations, whatever they might be, fine. But to me, it's just more clutter and junk in the way. And simply saying, I see patients at various hospitals through the county and area. Call my secretary, and we'll find somewhere convenient for you. Just seems so much easier.
So Dev, you shouldn't tell patients to call the relevant hospital appointment system.
I would never ever do that.
So then they can
No.
give it to someone else.
They
Yeah,
can.
because you lose control and you can't track it.
Yeah.
If everyone is coming to one number, and you might have, I've said you could have multiple numbers, but they're coming to you. Yeah. Now you can track it. Now you can see how many calls you're getting and so on. You can monitor so much stuff and you can control it. Because if somebody rings up the BMI wherever it is and say, can I come and see Mr. Wildwell, can I come and see Julie Jones, can I see whatever, now that can be taken away from you because the chance are it won't. But somebody said, well, he's busy or this, that and the other, but we've got a slot to see somebody else this afternoon, or as we said yesterday, you know, they could say, all right, can I see him at the next available thing? And it's like, well, it's tomorrow. But if you want, we can get somebody in to see you this afternoon, but it'll be a different consultant.
Yeah.
They might go for that. But if somebody had just said, you know, yeah, don't worry, we'll get you seen tomorrow,
Yeah.
then they'd have seen you. But that's how your secretary will act in your best interest to say, yeah, fine, we'll get you seen tomorrow. Is that enough? Is that, or next Tuesday or whatever? Is that okay? And if it's not okay, they'll say. But most of the time, they'll say, yes, that's fine. Can you get me in sooner? No. Okay, that's fine. So the patient still will end up yours. Do you see what I mean? Keep the control. There's no reason you couldn't, you know, once you've got that, get somebody else to book the appointment or something, but it's come through you and you've got the control, is my point. Yeah, it can't be taken away from you.
And I'm sure that happens when
Oh,
they ring in
yes.
a patient for, oh, have you got anything sooner? And they say, well, no, but there is another consultant tonight. If you, well, you need to be seen today. And I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the
We're
time.
unaware of it. And
Yes.
it happens both ways. I'm sure, you know.
Yes.
I get patients that perhaps want to see somebody else, so it happens both ways. So perhaps you could say it balances out. You could look at, you know,
Well, yeah, you could, but then if you've got one clinic slot a week and somebody else has got 4,
yeah, so very
then the chances are it's not balancing out in your favour.
correct. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this stuff is not. It's not complicated. There's a lot to it. There's lots of bits. But just again, focus on the core principles. Yeah, the principles are tracking. They're keeping control. There's knowing the basic numbers, so you've got your sense of an ROI. Because one of the things that Ben alluded to, but didn't really bring out massively, is I think I touched upon it yesterday, is if you're spending £100 on Google AdWords, for example, or Facebook advertising, and you're getting £1,000 back, just for numbers, yeah. Right. You've got statistically significant numbers, which I alluded to yesterday. What are you going to do now? You're going to leave that running? Damn straight you're going to leave that running. But you're going to do something more. You're going to put £1,000 at it per month instead of 100, because the numbers show that it's scalable, it's statistically significant. £100 generates you £1,000. Yeah. So £1,000 will generate you 9,000. Yeah. Do you see how it works? It's a bit scary in the sense, what, when you spend £1,000 on it?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I know it works. And you can always give it a little bit and prove to yourself if you want to take it a bit softly. But do you see? This is how you can build a massive practice, if that's what you want. And this is also how you can generate a lot of income while spending less time in your private practice. Because what you connect that to now is you connect that to the LAL3 list plus 1 analysis. And so instead of aiming for, you've got conditions A, B, C. C generates you £1,000. C makes you £1,000. B makes you £1,500, and A makes you £2,000, for example. Yeah, and you're getting loads of people in the B's and C's conditions. Well, now if you just aim at the A condition, A and B, you're spending, and just as I say for simple description, you're spending the same amount of time in practice, but now you've made your profitability's gone up vastly, hasn't it? Because instead of making £1,500 or a grand profit, you're making £200 or £1,500 profit. Do you see? But you're spending no more time in your private practice. And in fact, you can either spend the same amount of time and make much more, or you can spend less time and make the same amount of money. So you can go away and blow it on drink, drugs, rock and roll. Do you see? It's not Nobel Prize winning stuff, but it's nuanced, and it's something very probably nobody's ever told you before, because people don't understand it. You know, the number of people email me saying, well, my practice is busy enough. But if you listen a bit, do you see what I'm saying? It's trying to get the conversation going. Okay, any questions?
I wanted to add in one thing that I forgot to mention. I said I'd come back to it and I didn't. Was I can't remember who mentioned it now, but about paying online for the appointment in
Oh,
advance.
yeah,
Was you? So the approach I would take with that, if we're going for the guide where you give them the guide as the first hook to get them, because that's the way you're going to capture most of your visitors. On that thank you page, when you say thanks, your guide's on its way, but wait before you go, do you want to book an appointment now? You then have what's called another sales page, which then leads them just with a button that says book your appointment now. They pay their fee, and then they can. There's ways of doing it where they either phone you to book the appointment itself afterwards, or you can use an online scheduling system. There's lots of things like that. But taking online payments is very, very easy.
PayPal.
There's systems. I wouldn't necessarily use PayPal, but there are systems you can use that are just really easy to integrate, and we can advise you on that later.
Absolutely.
But the point is, always go for the guide. Opt in first. Get their lead information first. They're just their name and email, hopefully their phone number. And on that thank you page, that's where you then sell to them, and that will give you that sort of that funnel where you're getting leads coming in, and you're getting some people are buying now because they're ready. And the good thing about that is you can get to the stage where you're generating leads all the time, and then maybe you get 2 or 3 people a month that book. And those 2 or 3 people a month are paying for your AdWords cost. So you're effectively running your ads for free, because you're just always, and you're just building this list always for free. That's the ideal.
Absolutely. There are loads of really, really cool and clever things you can do. Exactly what Ben said. So they book their appointment, that connects you on an online diary. It is just done. This is at 3 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. There is no human being involved. It is just booked. It's there. Not only that, they've paid you in advance. And you can build it up exactly as Ben said. So you've got a little bit, not everybody's going to do this, but you've got a small proportion of people doing it. And they're giving you money in advance, and that is paying you, that's paying for the advertising campaign. So now it's free.